Ensuring appropriate asset retention. Welcome to this module on ensuring appropriate asset retention. Every asset, whether it's software, hardware, or data, has a life cycle. At some point, an asset reaches its end of life, EOL, or end of support, EOS, meaning it can no longer be maintained or updated. Organizations must properly manage these transitions to prevent security vulnerabilities and compliance risks. In this lesson, we will explore asset retention strategies, risks associated with outdated assets, and best practices for securely decommissioning them. Let's get started. Asset retention refers to how long an organization keeps hardware, software, or data before it is replaced or decommissioned. Proper retention ensures assets remain secure and functional while complying with legal and business requirements. Organizations must plan for asset retention for these major reasons. Security risks. Outdated software and hardware may no longer receive security updates, making them vulnerable to cyberattacks. Compliance requirements. Many regulations require organizations to retain or dispose of assets based on specific times, e.g. GDPR, HIPAA. Operational efficiency. Maintaining old, unsupported assets can lead to increased costs and system failures. Now, let's look at an example. A company continues using Windows 7 computers even after Microsoft stops providing security updates. Hackers exploit an unpatched vulnerability, leading to a data breach. This could have been prevented if the company had phased out the outdated operating system before its end-of-support date. Here are the best practices for ensuring appropriate asset retention. Keep track of EOL and EOS dates for all assets. Replace outdated hardware and software before support ends. Follow legal and regulatory requirements for retention and disposal. Regularly review asset inventory to identify aging systems. All IT assets from software to physical hardware go through different lifecycle stages. Two critical points in an asset's lifecycle are end-of-life, EO, and end-of-support, EOS. Let's define EOL and EOS and what they mean for security. End-of-life EOL, the point when a vendor stops selling or distributing a product, but it may still receive updates for a limited time. End-of-support EOS, the point when the vendor stops providing security patches, software updates, or technical support for a product. Here's an example. A company's firewall reaches EOL, meaning it is no longer sold, but security updates are still available. After a few years, it reaches EOS, meaning no more updates will be provided. At this stage, the firewall becomes a security risk and must be replaced. Here's how to manage assets reaching EOL or EOS. Monitor vendor announcements for EOL and EOS schedules. Create a replacement plan before critical systems reach EOS. Prioritize upgrading systems that contain sensitive data. Continuing to use outdated assets after their support has ended can introduce serious security risks. Organizations face these risks when they fail to replace outdated systems. Security vulnerabilities. Unsupported software no longer receives security patches, making it easy for hackers to exploit. Compliance violations. Regulations like PCI DSS and GDPR require organizations to use up-to-date supported systems. Operational downtime. Older hardware may fail more often, leading to system outages and business disruptions. Here's an example. A hospital continues using an old medical device that runs on Windows XP, which reached EOS years ago. Because the system is unpatched, a ransomware attack encrypts patient data, forcing the hospital to shut down operations for days. Here's how to mitigate the risks of EOL and EOS assets. Patch and upgrade systems regularly to stay ahead of vulnerabilities. Use network segmentation to isolate outdated systems until they are replaced. Conduct risk assessments to identify outdated assets and their impact. When an asset reaches the end of its life cycle, it must be decommissioned securely to prevent data leaks and unauthorized use. Follow these steps when retiring IT assets to maintain security. Data backup and migration. Before retiring an asset, ensure all important data is backed up and migrated to a new system. Secure data erasure. Wipe storage devices using certified methods to prevent data recovery. Hardware disposal or recycling, physically destroy old devices or send them to certified e-waste recyclers. Audit and document the process. Maintain records of all decommissioned assets for compliance and tracking. Here's an example. A company is replacing old servers with new cloud infrastructure. Before disposal, IT securely erases all drives using DoD-approved data wiping tools, ensuring that no sensitive data can be recovered. Here's how to securely decommission assets. Use certified data destruction techniques for retired devices. Maintain logs of all decommissioned assets for audits. Ensure vendors properly handle asset disposal under security policies. Now, let's summarize what we've learned about ensuring appropriate asset retention. Every asset has a life cycle, including end-of-life (EOL) and end-of-support (EOS). Organizations must plan for asset replacements before EOS to prevent security risks. Using outdated software and hardware increases security vulnerabilities and compliance risks. Secure decommissioning ensures data is erased and hardware is disposed of properly. By following asset retention best practices, organizations can reduce security risks, maintain compliance, and ensure efficient operations. This concludes our module on ensuring appropriate asset retention. Up next, determining data security controls and compliance requirements. Stay secure.